Slater.
Yes, sir. And welcome to today's Rally.com Big Three. Sitting next to Diane Gallagher. You came back. My name is Bassmasters. That's Buzz Cutler over there.
Indeed. Indeed I am.
Yes, well done again.
Thank you.
Came back.
Yourself.
I did.
You
I
came
know.
back.
Funny that.
I don't know why. We're talking NASCAR racing, and today is our quote edition, Diane, where we play quotes from some of the drivers, and then we comment on them to give people even more insight than they have already.
And we're going to start with a quote from Matt Kenseth. We all know how much Matt hates road courses. Well, those aren't the only kinds of tracks he hates.
You know, it's just one of them frustrating tracks here. You can never get away from anybody. You know, you're always either getting ran into, it seems like, or running into somebody, and it's just, and there's only kind of one lane. It's just one of them tracks that gets real frustrating. There's just not a lot of room to work sometimes.
So he doesn't like Martinsville very much, Diane.
No, not at all. And going into Martinsville with that kind of attitude, he's probably not going to like Martinsville afterward either.
Yeah, you make a good point, because this is a place that, as Matt says, you can get very frustrated at. So if you start in the back and you're already predisposed to be frustrated, you're going to be frustrated.
And Matt Kenseth probably will start in the back because he's such a poor qualifier. What's interesting to me is you think of Matt Kenseth as this sort of calm, even-keeled, sort of steady Eddie kind of driver, yet he's basically saying, look, this place just gets under my skin and gets the best of me.
Which is the worst thing that you can do going into it. And if perhaps that's because he is going to be in the back. I mean, he didn't do so bad last year, did he?
That's right. I mean, he almost won this race until a late problem with Denny. Remember, Denny was driving up through the field in this race last year, and Matt was up towards the front and kind of got flummoxed by what Denny was doing and made a mistake.
Jeff Gordon took Matt Kenseth out.
Yes, he did take him out, and not on a date either.
No.
No.
And since it's a payback track.
Exactly.
Well, that's a nice segue there.
Speaking of both Payback and Jeff Gordon, here's a little quote from Martin Truex Jr., who might have something in store for Jeff Gordon.
The amount of forgiveness is different for everybody. You never forget, that's for damn sure.
I don't know if that's what Martin was saying, Cutler, but this is a payback track, as you say.
I'm going to say that might be what Martin was saying. I mean, I think Jeff Gordon ought to look out. Jeez.
This is a place where you're going around 50 miles an hour through the center of the corner, and that makes it a good time to spin your fellow competitor out. But the two guys I think of are Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch.
And Edwards has been sort of alluding to the fact that this may, you know, I need to get Kyle back. Yeah, payback it's time for it.
It's a good place for it.
People have lots of paybacks to deliver that aren't even in our consciousness, right? Martin Truex said, look, we don't forget. We're like elephants. People are paying people back all the time, and we don't even probably see most of it.
Well, and like you said, I mean, I think it depends on the guy as well. Martin said some people forgive a little more than others. You know, we don't forget, but some do forgive. If they're not really, you know, they might be more focused on something else. Perhaps that's not what they want to get into, you know.
What's our third quote today?
Well, Diane, you have to understand that any time Bassmasters has a chance to talk about Greg Biffle, he just grabs it. He seizes that moment. And I know
Biff had a lot of interesting things to say yesterday, Cutler.
Especially about Diane's shoes.
Well, that wasn't yesterday.
Let's hear from Greg Biffle.
At Chicago, you can still stick the pin in that race. That's where we did the hybrid kind of RPM front suspension deal, and I was running right up front, blew up. Carl finished second. From there we went to Indy. I led a lot of that race, and then we went to Pocono and I won, and then went to Kansas and I won, and then Carl won a couple, and Matt was right. We all just, our program elevated from there on, and it's still, you know, still really good.
I find it very interesting that he could pinpoint the exact moment, the exact race when things started to turn around.
You are a Biffle fan.
I am a Biffle fan.
He's obviously thought quite a bit about it. And I mean, I think if you look back on it, you can see that, though. I think if you really think about it, that he brings that up, I can see what he's saying. And I look back, and yeah, he's right. He's exactly right.
Yeah, Chicagoland was the place. And also, we talked a lot last year about, did they learn something from Richard Petty Motorsports and that alliance? Well, obviously they did. They took some of the front-end geometry and put it in the race cars.
You know, Bass, you and I heard that first, I think, from Richard Petty when we were hanging out for a commercial shoot at Concord Speedway with him. But this is the first time I've actually heard somebody from Roush Fenway that overtly acknowledge, yeah, we kind of had to reach out to Richard Petty, and they helped us, you know, because everybody thinks, oh, it's Roush Fenway, it must trickle down to Richard Petty. In this case, it worked in the reverse. I've never heard anybody from Roush Fenway sort of own up to that, like as overtly as Greg Biffle just did.
I giving credit where credit's due, though. I mean,
yeah,
you know.
well, absolutely.
And credit is due there, I think. All right, that has been your Rowdy.com Big Three for today. Thanks to Diane Gallagher for joining us again.
Wait, I promised we'd get a close-up of her shoes. I promised checkered flag stilettos. Wait, I'm going to have to unhook here.
Oh, boy, this is going to be good. Through the magic of editing. I think through the magic of editing.
No, this is good.
They're not necessarily as great as the, I guess, the Biffle shoes.
You know, those aren't going to pass muster in the garage.
No, well, no.
Unless we get the tape out.
Now.
But that's only if it's cold, Diane. If it gets hot in the garage, you're still going to have to tape up the shoes.
The side view of them, really, I mean, these aren't that amazing, and I don't know if I really want close-ups of my feet on television, like seriously on camera.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.